Hello and welcome to The Flow. Today on Cycling with Sully, we are comparing the latest models of the Specialized Pitch Comp 1x and the Specialized Rockhopper Comp 27.5. The Specialized Pitch and Rockhopper lineups both offer a mountain bike for people that doesn't break the bank, but will still get you onto the trails. When looking at these bikes, they seem practically identical, other than the $100 price difference between them. Let's dive in to learn what the difference is between these very similar bikes. But before we start the video, I'd like to address one thing. In the comments, I've seen a few people frustrated over my comparisons. Since I haven't ridden any of these bikes, I make my conclusions based on the components and geometry that the manufacturers provide. However, I have ridden and own other bikes with the same or similar components of bikes in my comparisons. I have also created a new format that is separated into the following sections: purpose, components, geometry, and finally price. Thanks, now let's start the video. First, we have purpose. The Specialized Pitch and Rockhopper's purpose is to provide a hardtail mountain bike designed for light trail riding with modern components, all while staying below $1,000. Second, we have components. The Pitch and Rockhopper both are built around an aluminum frame. They both have internal cable routing and a 135mm QR dropout. The Rockhopper's frame has internal cable routing and rack mounts. If you're thinking about upgrading to a dropper post, the Rockhopper's frame will allow this for easy installation. They both have a SR Suntour XCM 27.5-inch coil fork with 30mm stanchions, 80 to 100mm of travel, as well as a fork-mounted lockout for the climbs. I have owned a SR Suntour XCM coil fork before and blew it out in the first season of riding. But if you're just riding mellow trails and avoiding big hits such as jumps and drops, this fork should perform fine. The Pitch and Rockhopper both have specialized 27.5 by 2.3-inch ground control tires, stainless steel spokes, and Shimano hubs. But the Pitch has stout wheels with older Schrader valves versus the Rockhopper's stout alloy wheels with modern Presta valves. Both bikes run the 9-speed microshift Advent drivetrain. This includes a 9-speed clutch derailleur, which limits the chain from bouncing around. An 11 to 42 tooth cassette gives a wide range of gears, and the Specialized Stout crankset has a 30-tooth chainring and a square taper bottom bracket. Having a 1x drivetrain keeps shifting simple and saves the added weight of a front derailleur. Shimano MT200 hydraulic disc brakes are found on each bike with a 180mm rotor in the front and a 160mm rotor in the rear. I have these exact brakes on my bike, and I am quite pleased with their performance and reliability. Surprisingly, the cockpit is the exact same on the Pitch and Rockhopper, both having aluminum stout 31.8mm stems with a 6-degree rise, aluminum stout mini rise 31.8mm bars with a 9-degree back sweep and a 15mm rise, specialized lock-on grips and specialized bridge sport seats are mounted on 30.9mm seat posts with 12mm offsets. Lastly, I will compare the geometry on the medium-sized Pitch and Rockhopper. The Pitch has a steeper head tube at 68.5 degrees compared to the Rockhopper's 68-degree head tube. The Pitch has a slightly shorter chainstay at 435mm, while the Rockhopper's chainstays are 440mm. The Pitch's seat tube angle is 73 degrees versus the Rockhopper's barely steeper 73.5 degree seat tube angle. The Pitch has a 420mm reach, while the Rockhopper has a shorter 415mm reach. Now for price. The Specialized Pitch Comp 1x comes in at $700, which seems competitive compared to the Specialized Comp 27.5's $800 price. Now that we know all this information, what does it mean? Well, it confirms how similar these bikes are, but more importantly, we learn what fine details set them apart. The few differences lie mainly in the frame design. The Rockhopper's frame is slightly more modern, with a slacker head tube angle and a steeper seat tube angle. However, each of these are within half a degree of the pitches. For most riders, it could be hard to tell the difference between the geometry. One difference, a bit more obvious, other than it being inside the tubing, is the Rockhopper's dropper post compatible frame. Although the bike doesn't come with a dropper, you always have the option to install one. Another important thing to know is the Specialized Pitch is offered in the sizes extra small to extra large, all staying within the 27.5 wheel size, while the Rockhopper Comp 27.5 is only offered in the sizes extra small to medium, with larger sizes bumping you up to 29-inch wheels. I would pick the Rockhopper Comp 27.5 over the cheaper Pitch Comp 1x because of its more modern geometry and dropper post compatibility. If you found this video helpful, or even just entertaining, please consider subscribing to help Cycling with Sully grow.